this week we are talking about ego lifting pretty much, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Ego lifting.
What is ego lifting? Ego lifting is just going to the gym and just lifting heavy weights just because you know you can and just because you want to feel good about lifting heavy weights. And you know what? I don't hate on it because I do it too. We all do it. And it's good. It definitely has its benefits for like the future for you. So like if you're progressive overloading, you could always focus on ego lifting and seeing what you could get. But the problem is when we do it every time we're in the gym and we don't focus on the muscle. So a really good example would be my incline bench press. My incline bench press, I would always ego lift because I always wanted to beat a number, but I was never focusing on my muscle, ever, never focusing on the movement, never pushing with my chest. And all I was doing was pushing with my shoulders, which is why my front delts are so fucked. They're so
Put it
fucked.
delicately.
Yes.
Hey, at least
So-
he's being honest. He's being honest here on the pod for y'all.
Then again, I do like to see the numbers go up. I do like to see. So I still do it about maybe once every month. I'll push some heavy weight for my dumbbell incline. But other than that, we're focusing on the muscle. And when you do focus on the muscle, for example, incline bench press, you're pushing with the upper chest. When I started focusing on my muscle, the movement of the weight, I started to actually see some difference. Same thing with guys that are just going and squatting like crazy amounts of weight. And then you see them and they have little legs, right? Their quads are pretty small. But the thing about focusing on the muscle is instead of just squatting, right, and going for heavy weight, try switching it up. You know what, Caleb? I think you said something like this on a video recently. Try switching it up to machine work so you can focus on the muscle more, especially like pendulum squat.
Yeah. And like hack squats for sure.
And hack squat, yeah. So on the hack squats, a lot of them in the gym, they say like some of them, I think the pendulum squats have quads low and it shows like an arrow and then hamstrings or glutes high.
Mhm.
And then it shows an arrow. So the lower your feet are, the more you're going to be pushing through the quad. And the higher your feet are, the more you're going to be pushing through the hamstring, glutes, pushing off of that heel.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
I agree with everything Robbie said. I think that just like you, there is a time, where you push for that heavy weight, and you can definitely time it out in your program where you're like, okay, on this week, I'm going to try to go for some of my max reps and my compound lift. But I've realized, for me specifically, and something I try to preach to all my clients is that I always put the form first and then try to continue to add weight on top of the good form. One, because it's higher risk of injury when you're always progressive overloading. And two, I get so much more out of my workouts when I'm focusing on the form. When I used to see Caleb in the gym, he was always, bigger guy in the gym, but you would never have to see him like, he always was trying to work really good form. Like it's something I always noticed about Caleb, even back before I really knew him. And that goes to my next point is that when you go in there to ego lift, a lot of the times you're thinking that all eyes are on you because you're picking up the heavy weight. But in reality, I think that a lot of guys really envy the person that is really, truly hitting the form perfect. And when they're looking at them, they're like, he's smashing that workout. It doesn't really have to matter about the weight. Still, you can go heavy on incline dumbbell and really work it and really work the contraction. Like I'm at use 95 pounds right now. I used to be able to get to like the 110s, but I'm throwing everything into it. I'm not going all the way down. My first rep definitely isn't looking like my fifth or sixth rep. But now I'm at like 95 pounds. I can do a clean 10 and hit perfect form, really feel that contraction, like squeezing my biceps into my chest, and really feeling my upper chest working. So I think there's benefits to both, like you said, Robbie, and I think there's a time for both. But in the long run, you can still go heavy if you perfect that form, So you start light, perfect the form, keep working up, and then eventually you'll be able to hit those same numbers that you're hitting for strength with the form. It's going to take a little bit longer to get there, that's for sure, but you're going to grow. A lot of these guys that are just pushing for strength, depending on, a lot of different things. Like you said, those guys squatting all this weight, deadlifting all this weight, like some of these guys aren't that big, and you wonder why. It's because that's really all they're doing in there is just picking, heavy shit up And I think that it's, counterintuitive. I really like form, man. So that's me.
I think a lot of people confuse like power or strength with size and muscle maturity, and they're correlated, but they're not as correlated as you would think, because a lot of people mechanically can leverage their body in certain situations to move more weight, but the tension isn't really in the right places. Like the main one we're all about to think of is squat and deadlift, right? So when you're deadlifting, how many times have you seen guys move 500 pounds, but they look like a dog taking a shit?
Mhm.
Obviously, that weight is not dispersed in the correct areas with appropriate form. So obviously, they're risking injury, but mechanical advantage doesn't always equate to more muscle. And I think when you're young, you can get away with a lot more because you got a fresh body, your joints are still fresh, your ligaments haven't been through the fucking ringer. And then right when you hit like late 20s, early 30s, bro, you're like forced to quit being an ego lifter and you're forced to use good form and time under tension. And if you don't, that's when the injuries set in and you start really fucking up. And I hate that people don't make this correlation earlier in life. Bro, if you slow down, correct form, and actually contract the muscles you're trying to contract and go through like a full range of motion, your strength will improve drastically faster than it ever did with shit form. And you'll probably exceed what you're able to do with shit form as well, because your muscles are working in the range and planes of motion they should be.
Yeah, because you're breaking down more of the muscle fibers with better form.
Yeah, and like people always like the bro science shit where people are like, oh yeah, half reps are beneficial. Science does support that, but it's from the lengthened position. So like think about it like when you're in a squat. If you're doing a half rep from the bottom of the squat, from the lengthened position of the quad, you're getting the benefit. If you're doing it from the top, you ain't really doing shit.
Yeah.
And people do the half reps from the top because doing it from the bottom is uncomfortable as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So that half rep bullshit everyone talks about, I'm like, yeah, you're valid, but it's from the lengthened position, not the shortened position where it's easier.
Yeah, it's from half squats from low to mid instead of mid to high.
Yeah.
That's
You
where
know
you
what I
get the
mean?
benefit.
Exactly, but not a lot of people do the low to mid. Why? Because it's fucking
It's
heavier
harder.
when you get there.
Same with the
That
press.
Caleb, you literally put what Robbie and I said and said it perfect though. Like honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I couldn't agree more. And I want to reiterate, like, there is times to go heavy. I think we all can agree that. Like when you're going for your personal record, there's going to be some times when you're PRing that your form isn't going to be just perfect. You're going to be working some secondary muscle groups. But if the majority of your program, you're really dialing in on that form, you're still going to be able to go up in weight, And I think that that's something I stress to a lot of my clients. And that's why I love getting videos back because, during online coaching, it's tough to not have them with you because you don't want them to build on poor technique, because it's hard to go start back at scratch from that. So a big thing that I like doing is requesting those videos. And it doesn't mean like, hey, like, I don't think you know what you're doing. But it's like, let me help you out. Like, let me do my job and let me see exactly what we're doing and let's work on that. Let's fix anything that we need to fix. And maybe there is nothing to fix. Maybe you're doing it perfect. But that's something I always request as well. Being an online coach, it's really important to be able to see what your clients are doing in their gym.
We're not against heavy lifting. Progressive overload is good. But like you said, Brando, you went from 110 with shitty form down to 95s with like better form and you're hitting 10. But someday that 95, every week you're going to be doing that 95 is going to feel easier. Then you're going to bump that up to 100. And that 100 is going to feel easier. Then you're going to bump that up to 110. Now you're doing 110s again when you used to do shitty form with them. And now you're doing them with decent form, right? Hitting them clean. And now what's going to happen now is you're going to grow because you're progressive overloading and you're getting that full range of motion.
How's the cut coming? How much are you down right now?
Ooh, I'm like in about 4.5 weeks, I'm down about 20 pounds.
Quick, man.
Most of it's water. You know what I mean? Most of it's water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was taking in a hefty amount of calories. So we barely even lowered them. I just started burning more, like a lot more. So I'm definitely feeling it.
Didn't mean to throw you off. I was just curious because you're still looking good, man. So I wanted to
Thank you. Thanks.
At.
I'm seeing some cuts, so I'm getting happy with it. Feeling, mentally small, but but then I'm seeing the shreds, so I'm like, okay, I could deal with this, But I'm definitely feeling the prep a little bit now. Like the energy levels are starting to become low. And
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Robbie, let me ask you this: like, have you since we're on this topic as well, I think it'd be a good time to talk about this. How much more is it important now when you're going through your cut to really be dialed in on that form, you know, and more worried about the volume and the reps you're hitting, focusing on the reps versus when you were bulking, you could push that heavy weight, you know, it felt
That's
a
the
little bit
thing.
different.
That's the thing. You start to like, even though like mentally I'm there, mentally I'm still pushing super heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But physically, like I'm noticing my strength. It's trying to pull me back, and I'm trying to stay there. That's like where what you need to be, where you need to be at in a prep. Like you're trying to stay where your weight used to be with workouts, but you're trying to keep the form, and you don't want to give up that form. So definitely working on the form more and thinking less about like, hey, the ego lifts. You know.
Yeah. One of my specific body parts, I want to see like who else relates to this. If you listen to the pod or even you two, leave a comment. If you know there's a specific muscle group where you not only prefer like a time under tension or like really focusing on the form, but for me, I don't get good pumps like ego lifting in my back. You know, when I'm hitting my back and bi days, like on my back and bi days, I have to slow everything down, like even more than chest, even more than legs. When I'm really dialed in on my back days and get like a really juicy pump, a good pump, knowing I got a good workout, got a good burn, it's like all form, all time under tension. And I don't know if that's everybody, but like for me, it's back. Like back is like my thing. I have to dial back big time on the weight and really focus on my form.
Well, back, you could also, it's easy to hurt yourself if you're ego lifting, especially, for example, rack pulls. Rack pulls are the best workout, in my opinion, for width of your back, like density and width, you know? But with rack pulls, it's like pretty much I would say, one of the most dangerous lifts, especially if you're going heavy, because you want to go heavy with those, you know what I mean? You want a thicker back, you need to go heavy with rack pulls, but you need to keep that form.
So I think I'm the same way with back. If I catch myself every now and then, like, God, my back has been like stagnant, I'll like advertently go like lighten the weight and just like over exaggerate my squeeze. And I think the reason is like with your scapula, there's a lot of like muscles like the lower trap and the rhomboids that move that bitch around. So it glides when you're like reaching for stuff and stretching versus contracting and like
Yeah.
it back down. So with that much musculature going in your back and that them all having different leverage points to like maneuver the scapula around in your back, I think when we ego lift, we use a lot of our traps. So then the mid to low back, those muscles aren't getting engaged. They're not retracting and depressing the scapula. And then we just start to like get trap dominant and our back is withers away over time. So when you go under tempo and you slow shit down and you actually contract, your scapula has the ability to retract and depress, and those muscles get stronger at that mechanism. And then your back starts getting like thicker, obviously visibly different, and your strength can go back up.
Right.
I think that's why, obviously, I'm just guessing.
Well, absolutely.
No, yeah, no,
you're absolutely right.
No, I was literally going to say I'm planning on making a video literally today at the gym. One of the biggest things that have changed for me, like in the last like probably like 6 months, is on my wide grip pull down. Like I used to like spread my arms out as far as they can go, you know, and now I keep them a lot more like level and like shoulder width apart. And when I'm coming down, I noticed like you see it all the time in the gym, the guys who are like coming like bringing their whole like it's like a high row.
Yeah, it's
you
a
know?
row.
Like they're not hitting their lats, you know, and that was me for the longest time. But now I imagine like like I'm sitting in this chair right now, right? Like my back is like straight, like a little bit of like maybe like a small angle when I go heavier, but I literally try to bring it down to touch like my chest, like, you know, the middle of my chest. And I swear, like I used to be able to go like 180, 160, you know, probably like just way too much for what I need. And now I'm sticking around like 130, it maybe push to 145. And I feel it so much more, like so much more.
I think we made a video about that one time. Remember when I was
Yeah,
like,
we did. We did.
It's called a lat pull down, not a trap pull down, not an arm pull down. It's a
Yeah.
lat pull down for a reason because you're pulling with your lats. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with you. Form is definitely a really big thing. If you're not doing the form right, you're not gonna grow. And if you're our clients listening to this and you're one of my clients that do not send us weekly videos, this is your hint to do that. Definitely gotta send us those weekly videos.
It also lets me know like maybe you're afraid that your form isn't right and you don't want to send that over to us. Like we're just trying to help out, you know, like if we request something, it's not because we're trying to like an gotcha moment. Like it's like I'm just asking you so I can see what's going on. Like I'd love to be there with all you guys. Like we all prefer that, you know, we want to be there. So like when you guys get us the videos, me, Caleb, or Robbie, it really allows us to like act like we're there with you. And like, if we were there with you, we would be correcting everything anyways. Even if you think you're hitting it perfect, we're still going to make some minor adjustments. So if you send us the videos, it's not an gotcha moment. I just want you guys to know that it's a learning curve. You never want to be the smartest guy in the room. But biggest guys in the gym, I don't ever see them fucking ego lifting. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like the biggest motherfuckers in the gym. How many times do you see them ego lifting, bro? Caleb just had C-bum in the gym. If you watch his videos and his pods, like he goes heavy because look at him, he's a monster. But like, there's nothing he can't control in there. He's not hitting reps for like 3 or 4. Like, don't see him train that way. Like, he's training like 8 to 10 reps, maybe a drop set of like super lightweight. Like, he perfects the form, man. And I've never seen a big ass guy. I've never seen a big ass dude in the gym lifting a crazy amount of weight. I've never seen it. Literally, I've never seen it.
And if you look at like the way he trains now versus like 5 or 6 years ago is when he started, actually it's been longer than that, when he started popping off CBUM, a lot of his lifts he goes heavy on, they're machines, like their Arsenal shoulder press, their Smith machine like squats, their hack squat, their leg presses. And the reason is he's supported, he's more stable, so he can go heavier with good form and push closer to failure without risking injury versus when he first started popping off, he was deadlifting like fucking 800 pounds every other fucking week and crazy shit. And then he started switching. And that's when his physique really blew the fuck up. Obviously, started working with Hani, the best. But even before then, his physique started shifting when he started changing that training mechanism.
Except Ian, though. Ian Valere,
Yeah.
every time I see him lifting, he's lifting heavy as fuck.
Well,
but his form is perfect. But his form is perfect.
They're getting after it.
Right? His form is always perfect. And the thing is, the reason why he's lifting that heavy is probably because he progressive overloaded to keep his form to get there. That's the difference of ego lifting just to lift weights and ego lifting for a muscle building benefit.
We don't want you to compare yourself to professional Olympians. I think we're not saying that whatsoever. But if you do like start watching shit, you're like, God damn, I want to work up to that. Just realize these guys have been training and doing nothing but training with their lives at a very competitive level for a decade plus. So if you're going to start comparing, compare it to yourself because
yeah, definitely. It's always a you versus you. I didn't even mean to bring up like C-bum now that I think about it. I literally mean like go to your gym. Anyone that listens to this, when you're in your gym, the next time you're in the gym, there's the biggest dude. You know who it is. He might not be the biggest dude in the gym, but he's the biggest dude that goes when you're there. You see him, watch the way he works out. I guarantee you that he's not lifting an absurd amount of weight.
Unless he got little legs, then don't look at him.
yeah. Because there is some of those. Let's be honest. At the LA Fitness and Crunch.
Oh shit, he's calling out names.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, if I wear long shorts, I'm one of those little leg guys because my calves won't keep up. They won't keep up. I don't know what's wrong with them. It's like I talk to my calves and I'm like, listen, guys, read the fucking room. Everyone's growing except you. And you know what? I hate to say it. I know they're a muscle, but I don't know. I haven't got the science for them yet. So we'll see.
It's crazy because some people have the biggest, juiciest calves, and like they
what the hell?
They never worked them a day in their life. And it's also the same thing with the traps too. There's some guys who just like they come out the womb with massive traps, and it's just like I wasn't blessed with either of them, man. It's like, come on, I should have got one or the other.
It's like, fucked up. It's fucked up. My sisters have fucking balls in their calves. Balls. If I shaved my legs and my brother shaved his legs, and we stood next to both my sisters, and we asked, who are the men in this family and who are the women? They point to them and us as the women because their calves are huge. And I hate it.
Girls have big calves, though. Girls do have big calves.
Do they play softball or soccer?
They played both.
That's it right there. Like they've linked a lot of like big calf development to like in your younger years doing explosive sports that use your legs a lot.
I played football.
I did too, but we still look like pussies from the knees down.
Moral of the story is progressive overload on calves too.
And play soccer.
and play soccer or change your genetics.
No, I actually, just to change the topic, I know we got like 5 minutes left, boys, but just to change the topic, I was literally talking about that the other day since we're talking a little bit about genetics. And I literally, compared to some of my friends or like guys with good genetics, I was literally not blessed with any of that. Like anything, like my senior year, I wrestled 106 pounds. I was wrestling 106 pounds my senior year. You have to really remember when you weighed 106 pounds. It was probably like sixth grade, seventh grade when you weighed that much. I was a senior in high school weighing 106 pounds. And, I've worked my way up to where I'm at now. And my goal is to compete in 2024. And this is going to be my first, I'm still in my off season right now, but I'm in like basically like a maintenance phase, trying to get as healthy as I can. But I'm finally going to start bulking August 6th. So anybody who listens to the pod, like, make sure you follow along that journey. I'm pushing for 200 pounds. I've got down as cut as I did like about a year ago. I think Robbie saw me, was training with me when I was cut up like that. Caleb saw me when I was super cut up. Like, people were walking around asking me, like, are you competing? And that's when I found out, like, in one of our previous pods, we talk about this, how unhealthy that shit is. Like, I was literally miserable, but I kept doing what I was doing because of the results of that I was seeing. I loved being like, I was so cut up. I was like still able to push good weight in the gym, but it's totally different. Like, now that I'm like pushing for size, like eating so much, like a little bit less cardio.
My only
really
advice to you is love the belly. Enjoy the
yeah,
belly.
man, my belly is like, it's starting to, like, my abs are pretty much, they're not gone. Like, I still see them, but it's nothing like it used to be.
I miss mine.
I was 170. I was like, when I started my bulk before, I was like probably like around like where I'm at now, like 178. Like, that was the end of my bulk. And then I got to 163 cut. Like, and I was 163 pounds. I never want to be that light again. Cause I look so small with clothes on, but when I took my shit off, I was a shredder,
Yeah, I remember
But
you looked crazy.
yeah, but now once I get to that 200 and I cut, and let's say I lose, what was that before? 178 to 163. If I get to 185 shredded, I'm
15
gonna be
pounds.
looking good, bro. You know
Bro, if
what
you
I'm saying?
push 200, you're gonna like a fucking pit bull.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for, bro. I'm literally gonna do whatever it takes. Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get there. Like,
Love thy belly. Love that. Rub it.
yeah,
Rub
I
it.
know.
Let it know.
Yeah,
Let it know that you love it. And
I
one
know.
day when it's gone, you will miss it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that I know I got cut. I got shredded. So it's like in my mind, it's like, I know I can do that. You know what I'm saying? I know I can do it. So now I got to show myself that I can get to 200 pounds. I've never been over 185 in my life. So now it's like, I got to push that. I
After
can't be scared of
after a
that.
health phase, you should you'll get there.
Cool.
Are you tracking your blood glucose?
Yeah, it was really good for a while. Like, I was in the 80s for like a whole like 30 days straight. But lately, ever since I got to 3,600 calories, today it was 88, but last 3 or 4 days before, actually like last like week, probably before that, it was all 90s, like 94, 97, 95, 92.
Are you working with Danny?
Yeah, yeah.
Get
He
his
got me
thoughts on.
he implemented more cardio into my diet. So
Yeah,
into my
ask him
plan.
about berberine too.
Okay.
Berberine.
Yeah,
Berberine. He'll have you on Glyco HD.
Yeah, that's what I'm on right now. And that's the other thing too.
Same
I've been
thing.
slacking on my vitamins. I've been slacking on my vitamins in the morning. It's just, it's one of those things, you know how it is. You have to order your vitamins like a week before your other ones run out.
And
or
then
you're
it takes a
fucked
little
for
bit.
like, you're like fucked for a week. So like for like a week and a half, I wasn't taking my vitamins because I ran out,
Yeah.
So I was only taking a couple, and then I was like, fuck it. If I'm not going to take all of them, I'm not going to take them. So then now I got them all in. I'm taking them again. But sorry, I went off topic there at the end, guys. But anyways,
All good, all good.
pod.
Caleb, you got anything?
Nah, that was good.
All good. One more minute, real quick. Thank you, everybody who tunes in. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We're hoping you're learning from this. And if you guys do listen to this and you have any ideas that you want to learn more about, definitely let one of us know, whether it's through Instagram, if you have our phone number, let us know because we'll definitely consider it. All right. It says
Great
less than a
pod,
minute.
boys.
So let me.
Good seeing y'all. I will catch y'all
good stuff.
soon. And probably talk to y'all later.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Be good.